I just finished watching the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker press conference, and I thought it was pretty interesting, maybe even a little revealing. Neither guy is what you would call extremely charismatic. They both tend to be fairly politically correct and low key when it comes to speaking on camera and in public. Anyway, I don't know what they're like in their personal lives. But be that as it may, this press conference to me was interesting because Anthony Joshua was clearly annoyed by some of the things that Team Parker had been saying prior to this fight getting signed. And there was a clear strategy, at least on Eddie Hearn's behalf, of trying to make Team Parker feel overwhelmed by the occasion. Eddie Hearn, to me, was clearly trying to play on that when he confronted Joseph Parker's promoter about some of the things that he'd said. He was kind of playing the nice guy, and then all of a sudden, bam, he jumped on him and put all these questions to him and said, no, don't try and backtrack. Don't try and, remix the things that you said before the fight to make them sound less harsh and more charitable to Joshua. Don't do that. Be as bold as you were prior to this fight getting signed. That's what we want to hear from you. So I think he was trying to put David Higgins on the spot. And that was a psychological tactic of trying to inject unease into the Parker camp and make them feel like they're not ready for an occasion as big as this. So I thought it was interesting that the psychological games going on there from both parties. I think that there was psychological games going on from Team Parker before the fight was signed. And now we're seeing psychological games, as I say, particularly from Eddie Hearn since the fight has been signed. And as I say, I think Anthony Joshua was genuinely annoyed by things that was said about him, particularly by Joseph Parker's promoter. Now, why is any of this relevant? Well, I remember Anthony Joshua did an interview on IFL years and years ago with Kugan Cassius. And Kugan talked about, I can't even remember exactly what Kugan brought up, but it might have been something to do with Joshua losing in the past, maybe when he lost to Dylan White. And that riled Joshua during the interview. He snapped at Kugan and said, I'm different now. I'll take your effing head off. This is Anthony Joshua's reaction. And it was an unusual reaction for somebody who's normally so calm. And I said at the time that the right opponent who understands Joshua's psychology could use that character trait that Joshua has there to their advantage. They could actually unsettle Joshua by making him too angry, by making him fight angry and take advantage in the ring. Could Joseph Parker be that guy? Potentially. Maybe it's not necessarily Parker, but his team can do that work and get under Joshua's skin and make him fight a certain way, which their guy, Joseph Parker, will be able to go in the ring and exploit. For example, Danny Garcia's never been a big trash talker, but his dad is a big trash talker, and they used it to very good effect going into the Amir Khan fight. Danny wasn't really saying much. The focus was all on Angel Garcia and how he was able to get under Amir Khan's skin, and he was able to not frighten Amir Khan. Khan wasn't frightened at all. Quite the opposite. Khan was overconfident. Khan was angry, and he wanted to go in there and smash Danny Garcia to pieces and stop him. He played into Angel Garcia's hands. He held his ground too much in the fight. He tried to knock Danny Garcia out, and in the process, he got himself knocked out. Could something similar happen to Anthony Joshua against Joseph Parker? Could those kind of tactics work? I think that Team Parker might be looking at that as a tactic. I'm not saying they're looking at the Khan fight against Garcia necessarily, but they might be looking at that fight. So, yeah, David Higgins and to a lesser degree, Joseph Parker might be looking to continue getting under Anthony Joshua's skin, making him angry and trying to keep him angry up until the day of the fight. Are Joseph Parker and his team ready for this occasion? It remains to be seen. But in their last fight, they traveled to the UK and they did fight Hughie Fury on hostile territory. I know taking on somebody like Hughie Fury, who's a mover, is nowhere near as intimidating as taking on Anthony Joshua. Totally different kind of fight. I can't imagine they were worried about being hurt by Hughie Fury. So different pressures on the mind. But from what I've seen of Joseph Parker, he seems a calm character. And I think he will be ready. I don't think he'll freeze. But he'll need to be ready. Because as I say, the biggest battle here, well, let me not say the biggest battle, but one of the biggest battles here is not just stepping in the ring and facing Joshua, but it's being able to control Joseph Parker's nerves, being able to control himself mentally to be able to get in the ring and fight to the best of his ability. So, yeah, I felt it was an interesting press conference, a revealing press conference, and I look forward to watching more press conferences from them in the build-up to this fight and, you know, hearing what Joseph Parker and his team are saying, and also hearing what Anthony Joshua and his team are saying, because it could be a case of them maybe being a bit overconfident, maybe not addressing some of the issues that Joshua has. As I say, the anger, or you could get under his skin and upset him. Eddie Hearn seems to think that this is to Joshua's advantage. And it may be so under certain circumstances, but a guy who is defensively astute enough and tough enough to be able to weather Anthony Joshua's storm could actually use it against him. You know, could actually draw Joshua's sting and then punish him. So that's a potential weakness there. Joshua's stamina, his stiffness, these are issues that I've talked about in the past and many of you guys have discussed. So we're all interested to see what kind of weight Anthony Joshua comes in at for this particular fight. I hope he comes in a lot lighter than he did for his last fight. We expected him to, because Eddie Hearn was saying that he was going to come in lighter for Carlos Takam than he was against Klitschko. But somehow he actually came in significantly heavier. We'll see what he comes in at for this fight. So let me know what you felt of the press conference. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Give me your feedback on the points I've raised in this particular analysis. And let me know how you feel. All right? It's Hatman. I'm out.